Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So today is one of the most important videos that I've ever made about Palantir, and in this video we are going to revisit the podcast that Tom Nash made with Codestrap and Farzad. I'm probably butchering his name. So the thing is, I've been trying to make videos about Palantir's competition, and I'm sure that you have heard that Microsoft came out with a competing product. We know that Snowflake is a competitor to Palantir, and the reason why I didn't make videos about this, I wish I could say it's because I was too busy, but the honest truth is I don't understand any of it. It's too technical for me, and I believe after doing hundreds of hours of research, I have a very good understanding of, what Palantir does on the surface level, but not the technical level. And this is the first time when there is a explanation by a very technical person where you understand what exactly is Palantir up against, how much time they have to handle this. And it's a must see as a Palantir investor. And I hope that you're going to enjoy it. And I will try to keep my commentary to the minimum, but I will have to add in some thoughts before you go ahead and sell your shares. So as always, if you like this video, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to go further and support the channel, check out the first link in the description box below, where you can support the channel on Patreon from $5 a month, and you get access to all the valuation models, and you get direct access to me and my eternal gratitude. All right, so let's get into the video. And I just want to say that the podcast, the full podcast with Tom, is going to be linked in the description below. I highly recommend that you watch the whole thing if you're a very serious Palantir investor. However, I understand that not many of you will have the time. Hence, I made the most important parts available for you.
They've got their work cut out for them there for sure. But at the same time, I don't think their strategy, if you go after all these giant companies who also work with like 100 other companies, and they start generating network effects in that space, because like Foundry is set up to work in a consortium model, basically. So like, the more people within your network that also use Foundry, you generate these tremendous benefits. And like that could ramp it fast as well. They might not need a dev community if they say, hey, look, we've got 100 customers in each space where we created these strategic partners. We'll be at 3,000 customers within a year. If that's their thinking, it might not matter what I'm saying as much as I think it does, but again, this is where the down market pressure comes into play, because it's like, who's certified in it? No one. Who knows what it does? Yeah. No one, and like it's so, Snowflake's quickly trying to pitch products and solutions that look a lot like things I've seen in Foundry. I think they don't have forever to kind of ramp it, even if their strategy says that we're just going to generate network effects for people and build our customer base that way.
Yeah, that was one of my really. That's how I kicked off the conversation, right? Like that's also another one of my big concerns, or whatever you want to call it, skepticism or whatever. Like I'm concerned that it is replicable, and if it's all just a matter of go-to-market strategy, then Palantir could be in really big trouble. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's definitely not I mean, to me, like if I were looking at that platform and I was Microsoft, and I did evaluate like Microsoft's intelligent data platform, it's a pile of dog shit. Spoiler alert. But like
allegedly,
Foundry...
in your opinion, we don't want to get sued.
Invest based on that advice.
X-Nay on the.
But like, I looked at that platform. I'm looking at Snowflake's claims on their new features and stuff, and they're just nowhere near where Foundry is. And it's going to take them better part of a decade to catch up on that platform, in my opinion. But like, anything's replicable in software. Like given enough time and the team and money, you can replicate anything, and like maybe you don't need to replicate all of Foundry. Maybe you need to replicate the 5 most commonly used things that people understand,
Just 80-20 it, right? So if somebody could just 80-20, just like 80% value, 20% effort. Oh, look, we have this thing, and we have an entire team of devs. We have a sales team. We have marketing. And then before you know it, Palantir's market share, like their ability to grow, like gets.
So I've been highly critical of the go-to-market strategy, because I'm like, dude, like if you don't ramp this dev community, people don't understand how your product works. The competition gets a vote, motherfucker. That's what I always say. Competition gets a vote. So like, you have to anticipate what the competition can do to you. And even if the product's not as good. Yeah, I mean, like looking at the Microsoft solution, I was like, oh my God, you couldn't pay me to work in this thing, Like it's the first party integration of a bunch of their products,
I just need to add my comments here because it could have been too fast, and I listened to this probably 5-6 times now to really understand. But basically, Palantir is going its own route and everybody else is going another route. And the route that they're going on is that they're giving a full and complete solution to companies that work in groups. And the bigger the group, the more valuable Palantir is. So giving you an example, for example, if CIA and FBI want to cooperate together, then they can use Gotham. And then if they take, let's say, the UK secret police to work with them and they say, okay, we're only going to work with you if you're also using Palantir. And then if there's the French police, the German police coming in, then because these three is already using Palantir's products, they're automatically going to force it down on everybody else, and it makes the product super sticky. Or give you another example, the FAA, the one that gives the permission for flights to, go up and land in the US is using Palantir. And then they can basically force the airline companies to also use Palantir because that's, the least resistance, right? So that, their programs match and it all goes seamlessly. And then the more and more people are using it, it starts to scale really fast because it becomes an industry standard, right? And Palantir is basically betting their whole company that this is what's going to happen. And all the other companies, what they're doing is they're taking the easiest replicable use cases of Foundry and they're selling that as a service. And because nobody is trained in Palantir, they're secretive, no one knows how they work. If the competition is fast enough in their expansion, they can basically kill the Palantir product. However, it's really important to understand that Palantir is going a very lonely route and basically they have a first mover advantage. And they are thinking about this market as a winner takes all market, and they are going from top to bottom on the market, and the other companies are going from bottom up, meaning that they go with the lowest hanging fruit and then they slowly iterate to make the program better, adding smaller things to it. Whereas Palantir is a lot of work, no income, takes years to develop, and then they have a full product. And then only the top companies can use it. But then the product is so good that they force it down on everybody else to start using it.
So maybe this is more geared to Tom, and then maybe Code can sort of give some color here. So, okay, so say Palantir were to say, okay, you know what, Code, you're 100% right. Like, we really need to invest our time in this. How does this change the financials of the company? Because that requires investing in a sales team. That requires.
They already did though.
Marketing.
That's why they took the massive hit. So they basically what happens.
But it's not enough from the sounds of it, though, right? Like we still got to go another yeah.
Okay, so the way like you all work in tech, so you know how it works, right? You come in, especially like if in modern tech you come in, there's probably like a good 40% of your salary in RSUs or in the employee stock options, whatever that may be. There's a big equity chunk. It's just the way it works in tech. Usually in a company that's been around for 17 years. Right, so there's a dribble, right? People come in, people work out. But all of a sudden, boom! Like brand new motherfucking department from scratch. That's why you've seen the big spike. From this point on, I've calculated this. I have a whole video about it. It's probably titled something clickbaity, like "This is bad" or some shit like this. I don't know how to find it, but there's a video. I'm sure I've done it where I calculated they're about 3% dilution going forward for the next 5 or 6 years because of the way it's set up right now. So they already had the big spike. That's why all the criticism came in. Oh, look at their dilution, it's insane, because that was the spike to set up the department. They will have more, but it's probably looking at like 3% dilution annually going forward for the next couple of years. So that's already kind of not the problem. The problem is, I think what you guys should be talking about is how fast the Salesforce can catch up, given the fact that they're competing in one of the most competitive environments in the hemisphere, which is enterprise software US. Oh my God, this is so fucking competitive. And you need humility, you need a freemium, you need the developer community, and you need a shit ton of luck. And it sounds like they were kind of stumbling on that front. But you know what, man? I'll tell you what, Farzad, like for me, if I see a guy, and always I use sports because like I've been a fucking sports freak. I love sports. If I see a guy who can jump out of the gym, who can shoot a basketball, is a freak of nature athlete, like a body like LeBron, I can teach him like how to pass and fundamentals. Like if somebody has fundamentals but is like fat and like 5'4" and can jump, there's nothing I can do with it. So I'd rather have that, and like I need to fix the marketing stuff of it, and the product is fucking banger than the vice versa. So that was my whole premise about it. As far as the financials, what you asked, bro, this company's financials look they can fucking date a Kardashian and keep playing in the NBA, bro. Like, look, they have massive cash reserves, no debt whatsoever,
Yep.
$2.5 billion of cash. They have almost no debt. I mean, like a minuscule debt. They're 400 million over 1.5 million free cash flow, which is like 30% free cash flow, which means the cash flow positive up to like out of this world, bro. They just in 2018 their revenue was 500 million. Now they're 1.5 million. So they tripled revenues in 4 years. 130% U.S. commercial growth, 124% net retention. I mean, the numbers are pretty good. I mean, it's not Snowflake numbers. The Snowflake is killing it right now, but they are selling a commodity. Let's be honest, it's a little bit different strategy. But the numbers are like, you look at this company and say, well, they're really built for tough times. They don't need capital operationally. They're not exposed to gas prices. They're not exposed to commodity prices. They don't need any loans or anything. They have plenty of free cash flow, and their product is fucking killer. So once you have it, it's sticky as fuck, bro. So that's why I like the financials. I know nothing about anything that Constrap said, pretty much.
Same with me.
Like when he was talking, I was shopping for things in my mind on Amazon, bro. I was like, I need the slamp and I need the step. I was like,
But I mean that's the complexity of this. I mean we talked about it. That's the complexity of a company like this. It's just hard to understand.
So they're bringing up a very good point. So they're very critical of Palantir because it looks like they have missed the boat on their go-to-market strategy. But before you sell your shares, keep in mind that none of these guys have ever had $1 billion startup. And sometimes it's very good when a company does things that are weird and nobody understands them, and then they turn out to be correct. I mean, witness Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Tesla, Elon Musk. In the beginning, people thought it was a horrible idea to make an electric car company. Yeah, I could go on and on. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, it does seem like Palantir is pivoting in this direction a little bit, and they're, hiring salespeople. This guy, CodeStrap, he is working with Palantir, and he's actually been pushing them very much, open up a little bit more, develop a developer community so that Palantir does become a standard when it comes to these kind of products. And, it can help them give additional market advantage. However, I start to understand more and more their go-to-market strategy and how brilliant it is. Because think about it, when I had many companies. I actually run a real estate company. We're building hundreds of apartments in South Sweden. It's not really a data dependent company, but I had other companies that were very data dependent. But it was enough with, YouTube analytics and, Google analytics and stuff that we could put together, right? However, I can totally see that if you're a company like Nike that has to handle, usage of shoes, how the shoes wear out, and then they have to handle supply chains, price changes, currency changes, then for them, an out-of-the-box product that wasn't 100% made for them is not going to work perfectly. And Nike will have the money to invest into a luxury product, Palantir, that can 100% satisfy their needs. So they're going after a very, very smart niche. And I think what's going to happen is that everybody is going to know, once our company gets big enough, we will need Palantir. It will be like the MacBook of, that, okay, right now I have to buy a Windows laptop, but as soon as I'm, I get a little bit of money, then we will move over to Mac. Or, you're driving a Toyota Camry now, and then that as soon as it's going a little better, we're going to switch over to a Tesla Model S, Maybe you're not like this, but I know that a lot of people think like this. And I think that it's so smart that they built Foundry in a way that it delivers more and more network effects the more companies and consortiums are using it. And it's going to make it if you want to be a serious company, then you need to switch over to Palantir. And I can totally see how this go-to-market strategy, if it's done fast enough and their bet really works out, it can really kill out the competition or take, a leading role in the market, a monopoly, if you will. And obviously, no one knows if this is going to happen, and this is why the stock price is not 150 or 200, and this is the risk that we take as Palantir investors. However, as Tom also pointed out in the company, they are made for tough times. They're a fantastic company when it comes to financials. That's actually the part that I understand because, sometimes when CodeStrap speaks and I watched other of his videos, I can't keep up because it's just too technical, but the financials I do understand, and man, they look good. And if they capture this market and, are able to make a monopoly on it, it's going to be a fantastic investment. So this is just my opinion. As always, not investment advice. Let me know what you guys think in the comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.